International break is over.
Oh, thank God.
Match week 9 is here.
Yeah, we put out there. Not a fan of international breaks. I'm happy when it comes to things like the World Cup and the actual tournaments, but Nations League.
Yeah, I just don't care. Get back to the Premier League, please.
So let's do that.
Yeah, let's do it. So we're on an interesting week, actually. Yeah. October 2022. Actually, the first is the start of game week 9. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games on Saturday, 2 on Sunday, and 1 on Monday.
Yes, and it's a big game to kick everything off.
It is. We start off with a classic London derby. Arsenal versus Spurs.
Oh, this is a massive game for both teams here. I know it's always a big game. You can't say North London derby and not say it's a big game, but it is huge. Arsenal are doing so well at the beginning of the season. Tottenham seem to be picking up some form. Yeah. I mean, even Son went and got a hat-trick before the break. He looks like he could be back in his goal-scoring form. Harry Kane's always going to bag a goal. That's almost a certainty in the Premier League these days when he's fit. But Arsenal are just something different right now.
There is something different. It seems like it could be Gabriel Jesus, that has been the change in ingredient.
It's a hard one to argue. He obviously very early days at this point, but he's got to be up there for signing of the season.
I mean, he's been doing wonders for my fantasy football team.
He has helped, yes. Although Odegaard was also in mine and he didn't play last game, so that was disappointing.
Okay, so before we make any predictions or preview this game too in depth, let's talk about recent run of form for both teams.
Okay.
Now, what's interesting here is both teams in their last 6 have very similar form. Okay. The only difference is Spurs have a single draw in place of one of Arsenal's wins.
Okay.
So Spurs' most recent 6 are win, draw, win, win, loss, win. Arsenal, win, win, loss, win, win.
And that loss was against Man United.
It was. You compare the losses. So Arsenal lost to a 3-1 to Man United, and Spurs lost 2-0 to Sporting Lisbon.
Yes.
Sporting CP, sorry.
But the thing I find with Tottenham, well, not necessarily Tottenham, but the thing I find with Conte as a manager is his European record is nothing compared to his league record.
Yeah.
He can get a team performing so well in a league, but when it comes to Champions League, Europa League stuff, it just doesn't work for him. Something about his way of going just doesn't work. Exactly the same when he was manager at Chelsea. We basically ran away with the league that season, but in Europe, there was just nothing to talk about that much, really. It was disappointing.
Yeah.
And it seems to be a constant thing with him. Same when he was at Inter. It's just that thing. So I feel like looking at Tottenham's European form almost hides how well their league form may actually be.
It's true. And let's not get this confused. This is, of course, a league game. And interestingly, Arsenal's only loss in the last 6 has come in the league.
Yep.
And Spurs' only loss in the last 6 has come in the Champions League. So
yes,
very different. Very different. Now, the other thing we must talk about is how both teams have kind of been, they've been putting them in this season. Like, there's been some goals scored.
Yes, I've been very jealous, and I hate to say it, watching how they can actually put the ball in the net.
Jealous of Spurs? That's a first.
Yes. Not happy to say it, but yes.
6-2 against Leicester in the last performance. I mean, this season's Leicester is not really saying a lot. I don't know what's going on there.
No, I mean,
I'm sure we'll get to that.
The fact they still conceded 2 is probably more worrying than that they were able to score 6.
Yeah.
I mean, Son got his hat-trick. He got that off the bench, and it was within, I think, half an hour at the end of the game. I can't remember the exact times of the goals. But it was almost like one of those, when goal 4 went in, Leicester kind of gave up, might be a bit harsh, but they just kind of stopped trying as much.
Yeah. It's also interesting to mention that, and again, I'm just going on the last 6 games, the most recent run of form here. Spurs have a 50% clean sheet over the last 6, and Arsenal have only kept 2. So it's only 1 less game, but still, it's important to note these things. And they've conceded 1 in every one of their games they've conceded in. Oh, sorry, United, they conceded 3.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, well, it's a weird one because when you look at it, you go, okay, this is going to be a high-scoring game.
So Arsenal have conceded 6 in 6. Spurs have conceded 1, 2, 3, 4 in 6.
Yeah. Yeah, but I feel like it makes you want to say it's going to be high-scoring because of how good the strikers have been. And I feel like their strikers have been better attacking than their defenses have been at defending.
I would agree with that.
Which means it's going to be 0-0.
That's normally the case.
And it's an early Saturday kickoff. So, of course, it's going to be a draw.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to predict for this game 1-1.
I almost said 2.
To every other team in the league, 1-1.
Yeah. Okay.
To Chelsea, 1-1.
I'm going to go 3-2 Arsenal.
Ooh.
I think you're right with the goals. I know it's early kickoff. I know if you say there's going to be goals, it never is. I know it's just the way football goes, but I'm going to go on my guns and go 3-2.
I think it's going to be a case of neither team will want to lose this game this early more than either of them will risk going for the win.
True, but I think if a goal goes in, I think the game opens up.
Maybe. I'm still going 1-1.
Okay, 1-1 for you, 3-2 Arsenal to me. Moving on then, we have Bournemouth versus Brentford.
Oof, it's one of these games that almost just people ignore in the nicest way. They're not up there. They may well be down at the bottom, and yeah, they don't get talked about, especially on a weekend of big derbies.
Yeah, and I think it's important again to look at the recent form. Brentford loss, win, draw, win, loss. One of those losses coming to Arsenal. And Bournemouth loss, draw, win, draw. Now, although there's only 2 losses in the last 6, I should also point out that that's a 3-0 loss to Arsenal and a 9-0 loss to Liverpool.
Yes. So they obviously lost to Liverpool. And in the time after that, Scott Parker said his goodbyes. And they've not done too badly since.
No, I mean, a 0-0, a 3-2 win against Notts Forest, and then 1-1 away at Newcastle. That's not a bad run of form for a team like Bournemouth?
No. It's a really tough one to call with this. I feel like the difference maker for this game will be if Tony is on form. If he takes his pre-international break form into this game, I think Brentford will come away with a victory. If he feels a bit knocked to the fact he wasn't given a chance, he was taken away and not given a chance to play away, then it can affect people. There are many players who come back after international breaks and they just suddenly lose the form they had before it. So I think that will be the deciding factor, is how he comes into the game, because I think he would be the game changer in this.
Okay. Prediction?
I'm going to say he will keep up his form at this point. So I think he wants to prove that he should have played and that he should go to the World Cup. So I'm actually going to go for a 2-0 Brentford win.
Brentford, okay. I'm going to go 2-2.
2-2. Ooh.
2-2.
2-2.
2-2.
Okay,
moving on to the one that we care most about.
2-2.
2-2. Yeah. So we have Crystal Palace.
A big game
versus Chelsea. Here we go. This is the one we're here for.
Okay.
If you can't tell, we're Chelsea fans. Now, run of form is an interesting one on this.
Oh, I don't want to know.
I'll start with Palace. With Palace.
Okay.
We have a draw, importantly, against Liverpool, 1-1. Then win, loss to City, where they still scored 2. And then draw. Chelsea's run of form, loss, 3-0 to Leeds.
Yep.
a win, 2-1 over Leicester, who we recently talked about having an awful season anyway.
Yep.
2-1 loss to Southampton. 2-1 win at West Ham. 1-0 loss to Dynamo Zagreb.
Yeah.
And then 1-1 to FC Red Bull Salzburg.
Yes.
Quite an unacceptable run of form for a club like Chelsea, if we're being honest.
It is. Well, it got a manager sacked, so of course it's not going to be that great. And it's also interesting how... When was that game against West Ham now? Because that
was the 3rd of September. So we're talking a month, pretty much.
So yeah, basically a month between Premier League games is insanity for this point in the season, especially when we've got the World Cup break this year as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, the fact we've got nearly a month without a Premier League game is crazy. And I feel like for Chelsea, form just doesn't come into it now. Because, like I say, no Premier League games, a couple of games in Europe, and then international break. And a new manager as well. I feel like all those things just wipe out the form guide in terms of Chelsea's performance. And honestly, that first game under Potter was a bit uninspiring, but I also feel like he wasn't quite sure what he was doing just yet. And now he's had this time, like we had the behind doors friendly with Brighton, of which he would played in a back four and stuff in that. And I feel like he's going to be bringing his methods into it a bit more. Okay, we've had players away on international break, but I feel like this is where our new manager bounce starts from this game.
I hope so. He's had time with the boys.
Yeah. I will be fair, Crystal Palace they've almost like the team everyone likes this year.
Yeah.
That everyone respects them, feels like they should do well. Vieira's doing a good job there, to be fair. I mean, the fact that they did so well last year when nobody expected it, and kind of going into this year, nobody expected much from them again. And he seems to be showing they can play. However, if I'm right in remembering this, they've only won one game so far this season.
They have. They're in 16th.
Yeah. So despite all these great things said, okay, they played Liverpool and City, got them out of the way, and they performed very well against both of them. It's the other games they seem to be struggling with.
Yeah.
Which may argue that they're going to turn up against Chelsea. Then.
Yeah. I mean, interestingly, they've actually only lost 2 games, which is the same amount of games that Chelsea have lost.
Yeah.
And even when they played City, they put 2 in. So
yeah.
I mean, they clearly can play.
Yes.
This is a game I'm actually a little bit nervous about. Obviously, it's Palace, it's Chelsea. I feel like Chelsea should do it, but when you're looking at the stats, the run of form, the situation surrounding it, I don't know. Potter's yet to prove to me that he can coach and manage Chelsea, a club like Chelsea.
Yes. However, I will say Potter will be there long term.
Okay.
I think because of the stupid contract we gave him. Nothing against Graham Potter, but offering him a 5-year contract on like 12 million a year. It basically costs about 60 million if we want to sack him today, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which is just ludicrous money. So we won't. So I think that his methods will be put in place. And I do think it'll start. I think we will have the manager bounce. Maybe talking with my heart more than my head. I just don't. Palace may well perform well, but I think we'll get the victory in this. We've had a chance for Aubameyang to settle in the squad now, which will be
jaws healed, hopefully.
Which will be a big thing for our attack. I mean, if he can get 15 goals in a season, which isn't anything spectacular, that will be good
for Chelsea.
Yeah, I think players like Mount and Reece James are good international breaks. I think they can bring that back. I think there's just a lot of positives going into this game for Chelsea. Okay, it's away. Palace will be a hard place to go, but I still think we will get a victory of 4-1.
4-1?
Yeah, going for it.
Okay, I'm going to go 2-1 Chelsea.
I
don't trust our defense at the moment.
See, that's what my head said, but my mouth said 4-1. So
I'd like 4-1. Don't get me wrong. I'd be happy to lose this prediction battle if it's 4-1.
Get ready for us to lose 1-0.
Yeah, I'm going to go 2-1.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Sterling and Aubameyang. I want our attack to finally be putting them in.
4-1 Mendy hat-trick.
I think you might lose that one. Okay, moving on. We have Fulham versus Newcastle.
Oof. Okay.
Another one of those games that's a bit...
See, okay, Fulham, it may be a really harsh thing to say, but they're just a team I don't really care what happens to. It feels right that they're in the Premiership to me.
Yeah.
But also, I'm not bothered if they're not. If you get what I mean.
I know what you mean. I mean, it's a weird one because obviously Fulham and Chelsea are physically so close.
Yes.
And ironically, actually also very close in the league, being next to each other in the league. And Fulham are in the higher position. They're in 6th, Chelsea are in 7th. But what's funny is if you look at Fulham's recent form, it's win, loss, loss, win, loss, win. That sounds like they shouldn't be doing particularly great.
Yeah.
But they're still higher than Chelsea. So
but this is the argument, and we've talked about this many times ourselves, is that a loss and a win is better than 2 draws.
It's very true.
So I'd rather not be undefeated and go win-loss than be undefeated and have 2 draws.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I can understand why they actually are higher up the table because they're picking up 3 points, not just 1.
And it's also important to note that 2 of those 3 losses are against Spurs and Arsenal.
Yeah, which you kind of, as a team like Fulham, you almost go, if we pick up points in those games, it's great, but we're not going to count on those for our season.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to know Newcastle's run of form?
Go on then.
It's draw, win, draw, lose, draw, draw. It's a lot of draws, but that's a draw 3-3 with Man City.
Mm-hmm.
That's a 2-1 loss to Liverpool.
Okay.
A 0-0 with Palace, a 1-1 with Bournemouth, and a 1-1 with Wolves.
Okay. So going off that, I mean, logically, you'd probably say draw in this game, but I do think Fulham will take it.
Do you?
I do. I think Mitrovic is just on fire right now.
Yeah.
He obviously used to be at Newcastle, so there's always that little added motivation of going back to the old club and kind of proving why you shouldn't have sold me kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I basically think Mitrovic will win the game for them.
Score?
1-0. 1-0 Fulham.
Oh, I'm going to go 1-1. 1-1. I think Mitrovic will be the goal scorer for Fulham, just because he's in my fantasy team. But yeah, 1-1 seems... I feel this has draw written all over it.
Yeah, I can understand that. I would probably go draw more than Newcastle win. But yeah, I don't know. Something telling me Fulham.
Okay. Moving on then, we have Liverpool versus Brighton.
For this is a big one for both teams in a way. Liverpool really need their season to pick up. Everyone was like, oh, okay, it's City and Liverpool at the top, and then everyone's playing for third. Liverpool have not started like they're going to be up there.
No. So if we look at the table, Liverpool are sitting in 8th. Brighton are sitting a point ahead of United in 4th. But they're 4 points clear of Liverpool. So even a Liverpool win here doesn't bring them ahead of Brighton in the table. So
no. Brighton is a really weird one because obviously their great start was under Potter. We stole Potter. Sorry, I can't say Potter without thinking Harry Potter. Yeah. And sometimes when I'm saying it, it's just it's a weird thing. I've heard other people saying it as well, and it's just one of those.
Looking at this, so hang on. So Brighton's most recent game was against Leicester on the 4th of September.
Okay.
Now that was just days before Potter was appointed Chelsea manager, if I'm correct. That was a 5-2 win. Now it's very hard to judge recent form from Brighton on how they're going to perform now, because not only is it a month ago, it's also under a different coach, manager. So
yeah, Brighton do have their new manager now, and for the life of me, the name escapes me at this moment. So it's hard to argue if they're going to get that new manager bounce because the new guy's in, or are they going to have a new manager slump because the manager wasn't sacked. He chose to leave.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're like, like a new start under this new guy. Actually, the team was very close and were playing very well. So the fact that guy's gone, it might have the opposite effect.
Yeah.
If this new guy's coming in and trying to change, I've heard he is very similar in the way he plays. But if he does try and change a few things that upsets a player or two, or maybe tries to change a position or two of a player, then it could have a different effect. And realistically, I just can't see them getting a point in this. I think Liverpool will just be too strong. I think Alexander...
Bear in mind they're coming off a 0-0 with Everton, a 4-1 loss to Napoli, and a 2-1 win over Ajax.
Yeah. I feel like Liverpool will be one of the teams that benefited from the international break as a reset point. I feel like Salah is due to kick on his season at some point. I still think he'll end up the season with a good amount of goals. He's just started slow. He reminds me of how Kane usually starts a season. And then I feel like it is going to, we're into October now. He'll kind of push on. I can see a 2-0 Liverpool win here.
Okay. I'm going to go 3-1 Liverpool.
Okay.
I don't think they'll keep a clean sheet.
Okay. Yeah, fair. I don't know. I worry for Brighton now that things have changed.
So you've gone 2-0, I've gone 3-1.
Yeah.
Same GD. Okay, moving on. We have Southampton versus Everton.
Oof. I'm obviously always going to be biased for Lamps.
Yeah, same here.
No, in all seriousness, though, this game, I just feel like has draw written all over it.
Ironically, they're actually in 13th and 14th place, both on 7 points. So it does seem like a draw game.
It's one of those. Like, I very much worry for Southampton this season. They may end up being one of those teams that kind of ends up in 14th, 15th. Safe enough. Not in a relegation battle as such, but never inspiring to go any higher. Everton, I think, will be safe. I think Lampard has, and this isn't me being biased now, I think Lampard has shown that he is getting around to the right way of running a team like Everton. Yeah, okay, there was the initial parts with Chelsea and everything. He wanted to play the Pep style of football, and then he's come to realise that actually, no, he needs to be smarter in things. And I think that's showing with how his team is playing now.
Yeah.
And I think their performances are improving with that. So I think over the season, they'll be fine. But my worry for them is the goal threat. With that, when Calvert-Lewin seems to always be injured these days.
I agree. And if you look again at recent form, that's quite evident with both teams, actually. Southampton have managed to only score 5 in the last 5 Premier League games, and Everton have only scored 4 in the last 5 Premier League games.
Okay. Yeah. So that kind of backs up what I was going to predict. I'm going to say a 1-1 draw.
I kind of want to go... I reckon that Everton are going to steal one, and it'll be 1-0 Everton.
Okay.
I can't wait to look back at these and see how wrong we were.
Oh, yes. Completely.
Moving on, we have West Ham versus Wolves.
Ooh, this is a battle for the teams that want to challenge for Europe, but might end up being very mid-table.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen things that David Moyes, his job is at risk now. Look at what he did last year.
Really?
Look how high he got them finishing. He had a great run in Europe. They were unlucky, based not to really go the whole way in the Europa Conference. I think it was. Yeah, and now he's at risk because they've started so poorly.
I mean, they are in, I think, 18th, and Wolves are in 17th.
But I feel like if he was in 18th maybe by the World Cup, fair enough. Mm-hmm. I think it is too early in the season to be judging for him risking to lose his job for what he's done.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, again, I think it's important to note that we're only 6 or 7 games into the season at this point, and even though they're sitting 17th and 18th, some of those losses have come against big teams. Like Wolves have lost to Spurs away and Man City. Like, there's no shame in losing 2 of those 6 games.
No, not at all.
West Ham, one of their losses was a 1-0 at Everton. Fine. One of them was 2-1 to Chelsea, and there was a 1-1 draw there to Spurs.
Mm-hmm.
They're losing points at the bigger games. That's okay.
Yeah,
it's hard to put too much pressure on either of these teams at this point in the season when they've already got some of the big teams gone in their fixture list.
Yeah, no, it's true. They're 2 of those teams I don't worry for at all. I don't think they'll be down there. I think they'll just end up
mid-table,
comfortable.
Yeah, mid-table. Okay, score.
Oh, that's a tough one. I'm actually going to say West Ham are going to pick up a win here and go for a 2-1 West Ham win.
I also think West Ham are going to get a win. I'm going to go 1-0. Low scorer.
Okay,
we've got the big one now.
Moving on to Sunday.
City versus United, 2:00 kickoff. What are we saying?
I think this is only going one way.
Yeah, Haaland's way.
Although, as I've said that, I'm debating it because it's the stupid thing that happens. Is it's so much so that I think City will win that Man United will probably go and win. The same way as
Liverpool. When it was the Liverpool game.
Same way, I was going to say the Arsenal game. Like, I was just certain Arsenal would win that, but no.
And also Liverpool. United have beaten Arsenal and Liverpool in the last 6, right?
Yeah. So it's yeah. I mean, it's hard to ignore City. Well, it's hard to ignore Haaland, really. Obviously, there's the whole thing with Ten Hag managed Ajax to a clean sheet against Dortmund and Haaland last year. So there's a way he knows how to stop him scoring.
Yeah,
but
Dortmund's
midfield is not the same standard as City's. That's the difference.
No, it's one thing stopping Haaland scoring in a team like Dortmund compared to stopping him being provided by De Bruyne, Silva,
Grealish, Gundogan,
yeah, exactly,
Mahrez.
Yeah, it's just come on.
Cancelo.
Yeah,
like it's just it's one of those strange because if you were to go week by week, it's hard to ever predict City losing. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
And the Manchester derby might be one of those ones that gets to them a bit.
They are at home.
Yeah. Which kind of makes it harder again. I mean, yeah, realistically, I can only see a City win in this. I would, from a completely biased Chelsea fan point of view, I'd love to see a draw here. I'd love them both to drop points.
Yeah.
I don't want United going on this amazing run. I also need City dropping points.
Yeah.
So a draw here would be nice. But realistically, I think City will comfortably win this, even if it's not by a high score line.
Okay. So obviously City are currently sitting 1 point behind Arsenal in the league. And United have been working their way back up and they're in 5th with 12 points.
Okay.
So a win for United here would bring them in contention in the top 3.
Okay.
Of Spurs and City are kind of joint 17. So, okay, I mean, the top, I know we're so early in the season, but I really feel like the top of the league this season is going to be close.
Nah.
You don't think so?
No.
I mean, if City start going on a tear now, they might end up running away with it. It depends how Arsenal
There's
do.
always a team that starts well and fades away.
Arsenal.
Which was Chelsea last year.
Yeah.
I think that will be Arsenal. I think they will start well, but they will have a dip in form somewhere in the season that takes them out of the title race, even though they'll still be top 4. I just see City being the most consistent because of just the quality they've got. And I think at the end, it's not going to be like a record-breaking win margin or anything like that. But I think it will be more than 7-8 points by the end of the year. Yeah.
Okay. If you want to know about the ability to score goals,
okay.
Man United have scored, let's see, 3, 4, 9 goals in the last 6. City have scored 20.
Yeah, that says everything. Like, if you can keep a clean sheet against City, then you're going to be...
That's a win.
You're going to count that on one hand this year. They're probably the teams that will keep a clean sheet against City.
For sure.
The main reasons those will happen is perhaps De Bruyne and Haaland get injured at some point.
Yeah.
But you take one out of the team, the other one will still be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I gotta go. I'm going to go 2-0 for City in this one.
I was going to go exactly the same.
Okay.
So I'm also going 2-0.
Okay, I'm going to go 3-0 then, just to be different.
Fair. Moving on, we have Leeds versus Villa.
Ooh, okay. So Villa, I think, will really struggle.
Yeah?
Over the season, really. I'm going to come across so biased at this point. I don't particularly rate Gerrard as a particularly good manager.
No, neither do I.
His form is worse for Villa than Lampard's has been at Everton. And Lampard gets the added pressure of it all.
That's true.
I think Gerrard did a great job with Rangers, but the Scottish League is a different animal to the Premier League. I think it will come to I don't think he'll last the season. And I don't think this week will be one that helps him.
Okay.
I think Leeds will actually win this game without too much fuss.
So Villa are currently sat in 15th and Leeds are sat in 11th.
Yep.
The run of form is kind of similar, if I'm honest. Villa have gone loss, win, loss, loss, draw, win. Leeds have gone draw, win, win, loss, draw, loss. So run of form is very similar.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, if I just had to put a scoreline on it right now, I would probably go 2-0 to Leeds. I think they're due their win. I don't see Villa winning more than one on the bounce for most of the season. And especially with Leeds at home, I think they'll live too much for him.
I'm going to agree. So what was your score prediction?
2-0.
2-0. I'm going to go 2-1.
Okay.
To Leeds.
Okay.
Okay. Final game of match week 8, whatever we're on. Leicester versus Notts Forest. This is the Monday night game.
Oh, I mean, Leicester have to win this. It's been said for the last couple of weeks, even though it's obviously still so early, but at what point does Brendan Rodgers lose his job? Managers have been sacked for a lot less than what Leicester are doing.
So after 7 games, Leicester have picked up 1 point. That's unacceptable. They were Premier League champions a few years ago.
Yes.
In the last 6, Forest have more wins than Leicester. Only 1, mind you. 1 win in the last 6. Leicester have 0 wins. Their run of form is loss, draw, loss, 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 loss.
Yeah.
And we look at the goals conceded. 2 goals conceded, 2 goals conceded, 1 goal conceded, 5 goals conceded, 6 goals conceded. If that trend continues, they're going to be losing 8-0. Obviously not. But, I mean, it's not looking good. And I feel like this could be a turning point for Brendan Rodgers if this is another loss.
I think that they will win this one. Forest are going to be the team this year, in my opinion, that everyone enjoys watching. People want to see do well, but they just almost will be too naive and they won't pick up enough points because of it. They signed too many players in the summer. They basically signed an entire new squad. And to do that, I feel like there's more of a history of if you just add a few bits of quality to a promoted team, they will fare a lot better than trying to sign a lot of Premier League standard players. I think the team cohesion of what brought you up is a lot stronger to keep together than these maybe slightly bigger names than what you already have. And I feel that that is where Notts Forest have gone wrong. And I think Leicester will see this opportunity of a team who have worked together for a long time. I mean, they made no signings. They are the same squad. So I think that will bring them over the line in this game, but it's not going to be comfortable.
Prediction.
I'm going to go 1-0.
Okay. I'm going to go... Oh, boy. I'm going to go 1-1. Yeah. 2 points from 8 games for Leicester is my prediction.
I think they'll pick up their first win, but then they'll probably go and lose the next game.
Yeah. Okay. So we have every team playing across this 3 days, right? 1, 2,
yes.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All 20 Premier League teams are playing. So if you guys want to join in the discussion, my brain has stopped working, then give us all 10 of your predictions in the comments down below, both for 12:30 on Saturday, the 1st of October.
Yes.
I'm so excited. Premier League's back.
Yeah. It's what makes the weekend.
It is. It really is. Guys, thank you as always for tuning in. Again, make sure you join in that discussion, and we will see you next time on Final Whistle Football.
Bye, guys.